Hey, what's going on everyone? Moose here, and today I am going to show you how to install MudBuster mud flaps on your, I think it's 2019 and up Can-Am Maverick Sport or Sport Max or even Trail. And we're going to do that coming up next. Alright guys, so this for me was, I don't know, how do I want to put this? Number one, I went out, scoured the internet for videos on how this was done. I found one guy who claimed it was an install video, and in fact it was not an install video. It was a yeah, we're going to show you how to do this, and by the way, you need to use a heat gun, and then and then all of a sudden they're installed, and he doesn't cover anything. And honestly, I've already done the other side of this machine, and I know why he did that. It is not a simple job, if you will. It really is not. It's not difficult. It's just frustrating, right? And I'll explain as we go along. But there are some tools that you are going to need. You are going to need a rivet tool, right? So these pop these little plastic rivets out of here, right? We can push this up into there, grab a hold of this rivet, pop it out, and then there's your rivet, right? So we're going to be doing that. So very important that you have one of these. You are going to need a 7/8 wrench, and I would highly recommend a ratcheting one. You don't have to. You could use a socket, but you'll see why in a little bit here. I would recommend, I used a 4mm, but I'm sure that it's probably a standard size. However, 4mm does work. So just showing you guys the tools that I use. And this is something that I think is non-negotiable. I use DuPont non-stick dry film lubricant. This is a ceramic technology. And it reduces the sliding and friction, and it bonds the surfaces. And you're going to see why when we get rolling on this. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is make sure that we have the appropriate fender for this fender itself. It's very easy to figure out because you're going to notice that, well, I mean, MudBusters is on the outside, right? It's got a little cool little MB. Sorry if the light's a little weird. I have a shop light behind me trying to make sure that you guys can see what I'm doing. There are rivets on the inside here. I'm just going to show you guys real quick. You can see there's one down here. There's going to be one there, one there, one there, and one there. You need to remove those to get this job moving. So I'm just gonna pop these all out. If they come apart, don't worry, you don't even have to reuse them. This kit does come with rivets, but I have a whole box of them, right? Because we lose them all the time, whether they fall out on the trail or you pop them out and then you have to destroy it because it's being bullheaded like this one. But so I always replace them when I remove them. I just feel like it gives me a better surface to work with, whatever. A better, not surface to work with. What the heck am I saying? It just ensures that I'm putting a good piece back in there that's not going to fall out and I'm going to lose something along the way. All right, so that's going to be the first thing. I got one more here I overlooked. So you're going to want to get those out of the way first. Your fender will kind of you know, flap away a little bit, it's okay. You've got bolts up here. You're fine. It's not going to fall off. And even if it did, it's not the end of the world, okay? So, the instructions call for starting with these 4 down here. So it's going to be this one, this one, this one, and this one first, right? These are going to be the 4. Now, one thing I did find on my other side was this was very difficult to get a push pin or a rivet through and to actually close it. And I've got some ways of kind of working around that. So I'll try to be as transparent along the way as I can be. So how I started off was a couple of different things. One, I'm going to show you guys why I have this spray. I have that spray to coat these push pins, right? These things are not precision machined. They can get stubborn and they might not just push in per se. Drives me up a freaking wall. So you just take a little bit of this or WD-40. You can use whatever you want really and just give it a light coat. These things will slide 1,000 times better. Don't believe me? Whatever. Do what you want to do, but I'm going to do this. Also, their push pins are very, very robust. As opposed to the ones that I have from other places. I would recommend using their push pins. However, I've mixed mine along the way because I had a lot of trial and error, and I had to remove one of my fenders because I didn't pay attention to those directions, and I got carried away, and the next thing you know, it's way out of whack. So I'm telling you the steps that they tell you in the instructions, and I would highly recommend, don't just take my word for it. If you order a set of these MudBusters, there's a QR code, you scan it, it takes you to a SharePoint where they show you the instructions. Read them. All right, so we're going to start off by coming down here and we're going to insert our first of many of these rivets. Now, I'm starting down here with a rivet, and I'm sorry about the camera angle. It's going to be a little tough in the very beginning, but I just assure you, I'm just doing the 4 rivets that we spoke about, or I pointed out from the beginning. That's it. I'm not going to do any more. I'm going to show you guys along the way. Now, this one is being a real pain in the butt. There it goes. They can be very, very difficult to push in. And I'm telling you, without this lubricant spray, it would be even harder. So I highly recommend using some kind of spray to assist you in getting this job done. This is going to be a long video. I do apologize, but you know, I don't want to do shortcut videos where it's like, yeah, man, you know who, look at me, it's done. And then you go, but I didn't even see what you did. And it's like, well, it's not my problem. I'm going to show you along the way. All right. So one thing that they do mention is that during shipping, these can lose some of their bends or shapes, right? So at this point, what I did was I kind of just, let me see if I can get this over here. I kind of put my hand right here, right? And I just kind of bent this down a little bit, just to kind of give it some more flex. I did the same thing here, and then I came up here, and I did it again. And just to kind of get it to be a more flowing bend. Now, the next step that they recommend is doing the outside of these first before we do these inner pins. And that's one of the places that I made a mistake, is I didn't listen. And then I found myself kind of in a predicament where I had to pull a bunch of pins out, and I broke some, and I felt like an idiot. And I was an idiot because they specifically said, don't do that. So, you know, sometimes the manufacturer ain't wrong, right? Sometimes they're just not wrong. So, but This is, you know, once you get it down, and, you know, especially once you do the first side, you'll find that it's a little bit easier. Now, another tool that I have laying over here is a hammer. There was a couple on the other side where they were just so hard for me to push in. I do have carpal tunnel, so maybe I just don't have the hand strength that some other people do. So I found myself just kind of tapping them in. Another thing I want to bring up too is it will absolutely 100% help if you jack your machine up. I have my jack right there. My tire is not all the way off the ground. It's just kind of lifted, right? So I have more room to work in here. Okay. All right. So moving right along, I'm gonna keep putting these in. Every one of these I'm spraying with this this ceramic Teflon, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. And then this one, you're going to notice that you kind of really got to bend it. You just kind of got to bend it. Now, the other guy that I saw that mentioned the heat gun, I won't say that a heat gun wouldn't work. I actually used the heat gun on the other side to just bend a little bit down here. Now, I don't know if it's just the geometry of my machine or if maybe my machine, I bought it used, was maybe in an accident, everything didn't line up. I don't know. But it did help to just kind of align it a little bit. But I probably could have done it without it. But either way. Okay, so we're getting really close. We grab one of these. I'm gonna try to do one without the spray. Let's see if we can do one without the spray. Nope. I don't know why it's not lining up either. Let me see. Where am I at? Oh. There it goes. Okay. Yeah, and I mean, you know, you gotta push just a little bit just to get the holes to line up. It's not the end of the world, peeps. You know, it's not bad manufacturing, I can tell you that. These things are, I mean, wait till you see the difference in what this is. Now, I am going to do this last push pin right here, and then we're going to talk about what's next. And what's next is you have these things. You have a bolt, a washer, and a nut. These are going to go into these two inside holes that were previously rivets, and now they are going to be bolts and nuts. So if you feel around inside there you go. Great. Good thing I got a hammer. I can drag it back over to me. Okay, so if you feel around on the inside of here, you'll find your little hole. You reach up underneath this. It's wide open. It is. This is not difficult. This is not like level 4 or an end game boss. This is probably one of the easiest parts to this whole task. We are going to. What do I do with my socket wrench? Oh, right here behind me, right where I left it. So I've got a socket. And then I've got my wrench on the inside, and you're just gonna go ahead and, oops, what am I doing around here? Ah, there we go. Nope, got my wrench backwards. I'm like, something isn't adding up. There we go. So it's a little awkward. I thought about grabbing my right angle rigid and just like, you know, burning through this, because it would literally take 10 seconds, but you know what, to be honest with you, this isn't that bad. And not only that, it is really going to make a huge difference in the ability of these to stay in place. Now, one thing I do want to point out, and I'm going to tell you, okay, so why did I choose MudBusters, right? Why did I choose MudBusters? Well, I'm going to tell you, I am a huge believer in good customer service and good warranty with companies. I checked around, and every single place out there that, ruh-roh, I'm missing a washer. Stand by, I just gotta grab a washer. All right, did you miss me? Like the plague, right? So, I think I dropped one of the washers when I was messing with this the first time, and you know, whatever, it is what it is. I still had more, so, or I had my own, so I lost one of theirs. It's unfortunate, but anywho, so I was looking around at all these different fenders, and you know, who had what and what they were, you know, what their coverage was, right? So I started honing in on a couple of different brands, and I looked at the Kemimotos. I looked at how do you pronounce that? Like Saus or something like that. S-A-U something. S-A-U-T-V. I don't know. Anywho, I looked around at those, and I was kind of like, all right, I don't really know exactly which way I want to go yet, but I started calling around. Kemimoto, I called them, I messaged them, and I emailed their customer service, and let me just tell you, in my opinion, they're worthless. They really, truly are. No answer. I got automated messages through Facebook on a different issue, but when I was trying to reach them to ask about their product, crickets. The other company, they did answer, and we just started talking, and I mentioned something about warranty, like, hey, you know, what happens if something happens to my fender? You know, do you guys have like a warranty or something? And they go, yeah, it's like, I don't know, 90 days or something like that. And that doesn't even include if you break it. And then I called MudBuster, and God is my witness. I spoke with some amazing people at MudBusters, and here's the thing. Unconditional, we don't give a flying F what the frick happens. You lose it, you break it, you smash it, whatever, we're going to replace it for life, for free. If you lose this fender because you're ripping through the trails, and God help you, you know, you whatever, yeah. Look, dude, I don't even know where my fender is. No problem. We'll ship you another one. Okay? Seriously. You guys know I'm an outdoor guy, right? So I look for outdoor products that always offer lifetime, right? Arc and optics, right? Lifetime scope. Who's not going to do that? So, yeah. Lifetime. Never worry about it. Quote me on that. Call them and ask them for yourself. They do not care. You break it, they replace it. You lose it, they replace it. You need to get your insurance claim done? No problem. Insurance people can call. Whoop. Should be another one. So, all right, let's get back to this, because that's just epic, and if you don't think that's epic, well, then your mama don't dance. But anywho, all right, so let's get this one put in there. Here's one of those stubborn ones, and I think it's just me, but I'm just tapping this. Look, don't freak out. I'm not breaking it, and even if I did break it, it's got a lifetime warranty. But you know, like this one, yeah, I don't know, just getting old and weak. I wouldn't say I'm weak, but then again, I didn't spray those with the lube either. I said lube. All right, so next one. We got one more up here that goes in right here. Now on my other side, my holes didn't line up. And I think it's because something happened to my front end at some point that kind of changed the geometry. So, yeah, this one isn't gonna line up either. So, not MudBuster's fault at all. Grab yourself one of these. I used the 5/16. They say to use like an 11 something or other. I ain't got one that size. So if you bring this up here and just give her some gentle loving, I'm gonna be drilling a new hole. Now I know that my be careful when you're going through. Now I know that these do adjust. I can slide this in and out, but I found that it was much easier, to be honest with you, just to drop one new hole. Now some of you guys might be going, what the hell are you doing to that dang machine, son? But you know what? At the end of the day, it don't really matter, because number one, I ain't taking these things off this machine. So there's that. And then number two, yeah, I ain't taking these things off this dang machine. So mind your damn business. But yeah, anywho, all right. I think this might have been a good one for a little bit of heat on the gun, but I'm gonna try to use the hammer saw just to kind of tap that puppy up in there like what the beep. Yeah, just like that, she goes right back together. Nice and easy. Hey, nobody said this was gonna be easy, but we got her. All right, I just had to cuss and swear a little bit at it. All right, now we've got one more that's got to be drilled like right here, okay? All right, so next thing we got to do is drill a hole up through here. We're going to go nice and slow just to go through this bottom section here. There we go. That's it. Ain't no more. No more, no less. No more, no less. Grab yourself one of these big dogs right here, stick it up in there, and pop, pop. There you have it. The front's done. Let's go on to the back. Then we'll talk about all of it. All right, guys. So here we are. We're on the back of the machine, and we've got our back fender. This one's a little more tricky, but it's easier in all honesty. Once this goes up, you're gonna notice this piece right here is actually going to be seated on top like that. Okay. So, put it up there. That little half moon is going to be seated on top of that. Okay, so just to kind of give you guys a forewarning of how it's going to end up looking. All right, so with this one, we do have to still pull the rivets out. Now I just replaced all of my fenders, my stock fenders, if you will. They were beat up, and they came like that to me, and so I put new ones on there. I went out to Partzilla and got some. So now I'm not sponsored by Partzilla, but hey, Partzilla, if you guys are interested, let's chat, okay? Because I'm always needing parts, and I ordered a lot of stuff from you guys. But anyway, all right, so let's go ahead and we're just gonna pull all these out of there. Because we need to put new ones in. All right, come on. All right. Now, on this, I can tell you that, oh, you mother. This one's really in there. All right, there we go. All right. With this one, it's the same thing. You'll be starting down here at the bottom, or here, and there's 3, and then this one, and then you always want to save these inner ones for last. So we're actually going to do this one, 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 and then we're going to come through and fill in the other ones. So let's get started. Once again, still using the spray. Personally, like I said, I just think it's cat's meow, and it makes this, I'm telling you, man, it'll make it so that you are not going absolutely batshit crazy, because these things can be a pain in the ass to work with. And I will tell you that honestly, now, there's nothing against MudBusters. It's not. But for me, I did find 2 areas where a heat gun came in very handy. And it was very easy to do. I didn't have to overheat it. I just needed to heat it a little bit. But I'm going to see if this one I can get away without using the heat gun. So, we're going to try it. We're going to try. We're going to try and see what happens. Try, let it ride. Alright. That's a great song. Alright, let me find this other hole here. That's what she said. Find the hole. Okay, there we go. Alright, found the hole. Alright, so once again, they even tell you, don't be afraid, you ain't gonna break it. I said, okay. Here's what it is. I ain't broke one yet. And I've done some gnarly crap to these things just to see how far I could go. And one thing I did do is beat on them with a hammer. That's a true story. I'm not making it up. Okay. Just like this one here. Come on, man. Get the frick in there. Okay, that's why you didn't go in there. Because it wasn't lined up. Okay, what the heck is going on? What in the hell is going on? Let me pull this one out. Get a new rivet. Let me try to do this a little more peacefully. There we go. There we go. Alright, that was no big deal. Just required a little bit of get up in there. Alright. I'm going to call this a one chaw deal. I mean, I only had to pack my lip one time. I don't recommend it, but for some of us, it's a great coping mechanism. Now, you will notice that sometimes they just don't want to go all the way in. It's kind of a, I don't know, I can't really say one way or the other if it's just the tight tolerances that they have. And what I mean is, like when you're putting this in there, it seems like it takes a little extra to get that bottom to snap in that hole. Now I know you can pull these things apart and it makes it a little easier, but sometimes, I don't know, sometimes doing that ain't the easiest way. But just saying, just take your time, push her up in there, be alright. You'll be alright. This one wants to be a pain here. Alright. Like I said, don't be afraid to, you know, if you bend one up, you just want to put a new one, just buy a pack. They're super cheap. Like I said, though, the ones that come from MudBusters are definitely more robust. I definitely recommend using those as opposed to some cheap knockoff ones that you got. I've got some cheap knockoff ones, I get it, but it is what it is. Like I said, I found that doing the outer ones first were a little bit easier for me to do. I'm putting this, of course now I'm putting an inner one in. What the heck are you doing, dude? You just told everybody, use the outer ones. And then you went and used an innie. You went and used an innie. Okay, so at this point, this is where you want this to sit here, right? Now, I needed a little bit of heat right there to kind of push that up in there. Probably didn't have to. My other side did not line up as well as this one. Once again, this machine's got 10,000 miles on it, or dang close. I bought it with 9,100 miles. So I don't know what happened. If plastics were replaced, they just didn't line up. I don't know. All my other holes lined up. For some reason, this back was just a little off. Ain't no big deal. It's not manufacturer. That is a fact. Alright. So, now I'm going to go ahead and put in my inner clips. because I've got all my outer ones done. There's another little trick too. You take your tool and put it on there, you can actually push that up in there better as well. Now see, that one to me doesn't want to go. So I'm just gonna tap with a hammer. I'm not driving a nail. I'm just persuading this up inside there. See, that's it. I'm not beating a nail. I'm just tapping it to get it to move. They are very good tolerances, and that's what you want. You don't want your fender flying off because these are all loose. That's just a fact of life. Once again, just kind of using this tool to seat that thing, or try to. There it goes. And then I ran the same thing with the back one. I think it's just a super tight tolerance. Alright, I'm going to come back to this one. Actually, I'm going to pull it out. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use one of mine that's got a little less tolerance to it. It still clips. It'll still hold. It ain't going to not hold, but you almost got a pinch from the back too. Almost. This one's just real tight. There it goes. There we go. Nice and tight in there. And like I said, you know, look, if you guys have other suggestions for how you did this, drop them in the comments down below. You know, I mean, I'm still accomplishing the same thing that everybody else is. I'm just showing you what worked for me. You know, that's all. Just showing you what worked for me. This one's a little tight. Tight is actually good. I wouldn't say that it's a bad thing. Not at all. I mean, if she was all blown out and loose, I'd be a little more concerned about, you know, being able to keep my fenders. And I definitely want to keep them. I don't want to be the guy who has to call MudBusters and go, hey man, my fender flew off because I wasn't installing them correctly. Now, we got one more up here. Then we're going to move into our drilling. And this is where you got to really be ginger. If you don't know what ginger means, it means gentle. Do it gingerly, with purpose, but with control. You do not want to drill through your machine into things that were not meant to be drilled through, because you will not be a happy camper. Let me grab that piece back here. Get over here. You're not done, soldier. You are not done. Your time is not over, son. Time to get back in there and fight for your machine. Drop the whole dang thing out of there. Alright. Start over with another one. Starting over. Like I said, these things are definitely got some really tight tolerance. Oh, there it goes. Come on. See if I can push this one up. Oh, man, that's tough. Okay. All right. we're gonna move right along. Now, if you notice on this one here, you really kind of got to push it up. And this is what I didn't do on my other one. I didn't push this up into there. So when I drilled my hole, it wasn't like that, and it needs to be. So I'm gonna go real nice and slow, applying nice, steady, even pressure. There it goes, that's it. I just wanted to go through that first little, that's it. So what I did was, as soon as I did, I kept the drill going, just cleaned out the hole a little bit. I'm gonna spray her down and come up here and just get your shavings out of the way. You'll see some of these little shavings are, see, big gunk full of shavings pulled out. And then we can push this up in there. There you go. Just like that, son. All right. Now, next one, I'm gonna do the same thing. It's right in that little pocket. See, this one I didn't have to use a heat gun on. Probably because I did it right. Alright. Now I wasn't drilling fast, I was simply cleaning out the hole. That's it. A bit of lube on there again. And push this right up in there. Snap her right up on top, just like that. Now, let's move up to the top. We'll go from there. Alright, so here we are up at the top of the machine. And like I said, this piece is actually going to sit on top. So these are going to be the only two holes that you drill on the outside of your plastics that, if you ever decide to take these off, maybe you'd have to do something, but I don't really think so. But you're going to have 1 and 2. So I would recommend 2 different things. 1, go very slow. And 2, drill 1 at a time, because you are going to want to make sure that they stay lined up. Okay, hole number 1 is drilled out. I've already pre-lubed these, so we're going to take this, we're going to stick her down in there, and pop her home. There you go, nice and tight. Look at that. Alright, now you can drill your other hole. Yep. There we go. Take your other one, push pin, move all your crap out of the way, and push it down in there. There you go. Installed. So we're gonna pause here. I'm gonna take this machine outside and we're gonna go over what we did. All right, guys, so there you have it. Installing the MudBusters on your Can-Am Maverick Sport Max or Can-Am Trail. It's all going to be really similar, but let's just go around and look at it real quick. You can see just the difference in coverage. Look at that, it covers my entire wheel basically. Got a little bit of on the side, but not enough that it's really going to fly up. Here is our rear. Huge shout out to Aftermarket Assassins, Glue Tread, and Rugged Radios as well. But you can just see this gives it a really good fender coverage in the rear as well. So all that mud that's coming up is going to stay off your machine. You know, one thing that I definitely recommend, and that is Slick products. Matter of fact, let me go grab some. I'm going to show you why. All right, so Slick products, multi-surface, shine and protectant. It reduces mud adhesion. That's the big key to this. And when I am putting this onto my machine, what I do is not only do I spray the outside, but I spray underneath my fenders. And what it does is it cuts down on the amount of mud that's going to stick to my machine. So I've had it out today. You know, it's still going to be dirty, but it's going to be much easier to clean. So with that being said, if you guys have any questions, you can check out MudBusters. I think it's MudBusters.com. I'll put a link in the description down below. Call them up, tell them, hey man, you know, I saw Moose's install video, and man, I think that'd be excellent for mine. They make them for a wide variety of machines. There's a ton of different applications, and just look at that coverage. I mean, especially if you're running bigger tires, definitely going to cut down on the amount of crap that goes flying into your unit. I mean, I used to get it up on my roof and everything else. I mean, you can even see my back seat. Look at my back seat, it's just covered in mud, and that's all tire slam, you know. I mean, that's from the tires. So with that being said, I definitely appreciate it. Till next time, be good to each other. God bless.